Well, the question was posed to me on what makes a suburban homesteader and what is the difference between that and other homesteaders. So let's dive into that. I'm Sandy at Apple Cottage, and I am Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming. Now, for me to answer those, I have to answer those from my perspective, from what I see, what I live, what I believe. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's look at where you live. If you lived outside the city and you had 2 acres, 40 acres, 100 acres, you would probably consider yourself a homesteader. And by definition, I think that would be correct. If you lived in the city, in the thick of things in your city, and you did a lot of those same things, you would probably consider yourself a city homesteader, or a lot of people will call themselves city-steaders. Now, for a suburban homesteader, I think you need to live in a suburb or a subdivision, and I think that's a great term to call yourself a suburban homesteader. Anything that aligns with your goals, your lifestyle, where you live, I think you're free to have that name for yourself. If you live in the city and you just want to call yourself a homesteader, go for it. You know, you go girl. When we decided we wanted that lifestyle on this property too, I wrote down goals, and it's basically a mantra. My goal is to live a self-sustaining, self-reliant, and self-sufficient life. And all the decisions over the last 15 years in this property were based on those 3 areas. Was it that decision, was it going to make us more sustainable, more self-sufficient, and more self-reliant? If it didn't, I could put that on the shelf very easily and say, I'll look at that later. And for us, that's what we did. I think you look at cities and corporations and businesses, and they make themselves a mission statement. You need a mission statement for yourself. So for us, it was living a self-sustaining, self-reliant, and self-sufficient life. Very easy. And that made us become a suburban homesteader. Now, for us, the easiest thing to do first was gardens. And I think you can start very small with just containers on your patio to move you to being a suburban homesteader. We started growing things in the ground, in containers, and in raised beds. As the natural progression went, because we had goals for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, we added hoop houses, cold frames, season extenders, and now hydroponics. And that just worked for us. And so living our suburban homesteader life, those were great things for us. Now when you grow, and you grow more and more, what are you going to do with those things? So the natural progression for that was cooking, canning, dehydrating, freezing. Because if you're going to have more and more vegetables to live that lifestyle, to have it come for a whole year, those were natural things for us to do. That met our goals and our idea of being a suburban homesteader. So you have your gardens, you're growing, you're cooking, you're preserving. Now the next natural step might be for someone to add animals to their property. Living within a city limits, even if you're a suburb or just a subdivision, there can be regulations, so you have to check with those first. But you might want to add chickens or ducks, honeybees. These are natural things that will add and enhance the things that you've already done. Now in Los Angeles, in certain areas of Los Angeles, you can have a pig. Who knew? That's so crazy. But those are options within city limits, and you just have to find out what your options are. If you can't have chickens, go to the city. Have a petition. Do those things that, if that meets your goal, that those are things that you really want on your suburban homesteader, work towards those goals. Now, every suburban homesteader is going to have different ideas of what that means, what that pictures. But if you can go together with you, your family, your kids, and have a notebook and write those things down, what are some of the things that you would really love? Even if that's a 5-year goal, a 5-year plan, write those down. It's very satisfying being able to check those off. For me, we have a large lot. I mean, it's not huge, but it's a large lot for a city, suburban area. I divided things into rooms because for me, visually, it's very much easier for me to say, okay, I can take this 10 by 10 area or this 10 by 20 area, and these are the things I want to add to it. It just makes it easy for me. And so as we went, I just did sections. Am I finished? No. I still have sections up on the hill. I have some things started, but am I finished with them? No, because it's always growing, it's always evolving. And that's one of the funnest things about being a suburban homesteader. You know, you get your trees established and your soft fruits and your vegetables and all the different things that you're going to do. Now for Joe and I, being a suburban homesteader, that meant also heating our house with wood. And so that was just another thing. Choices. Do you have to have that? No, of course you don't. That's up to you. Because you get to set that mantra, that mission of what you want to be as a suburban homesteader. As we went through the years and our property grew and grew and got larger, and we added more things, where we just would have a fruit tree. Now we have a fruit tree that may have strawberries all around it, or a fruit tree that has garlic growing for a living mulch, or daffodils as a living mulch. We have trees that have clementises climbing up, and hanging baskets, things that you add. Now could you do it all in 1 year? You could, but I think you miss out on the joy of it. You miss out on all those fun things that work and don't work, and there's a real satisfaction when you get to look back and say, oh, this is what it looked like when we first moved in. This is what it looked like after 5 years. So what makes a suburban homesteader? I think you get to decide that. I think you get to do as much or as little that you want. When I started doing goals, you have to know that somebody has to do that work. You know, it's nice to plant all those plants, but somebody's got to weed. So when you decide to do those things, who is going to help you with that work? Are you going to do it all yourself? Are the kids going to help you? Is your husband, your wife going to help you? You just have to plan those things out. And it's okay and it's great to put things on the shelf and take them off the shelf when you're ready for them. And suburban homesteaded living is really, for me, living a self-sustaining, self-sufficient, self-reliant life that is good and wholesome, and we love it. I hope that you take some time and write some goals. Write a mission statement or a mantra. Something that's really gonna just move you forward. As always, like, subscribe, share with the world. This is Sandy. I am Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming. I will see you next time, and I hope this helped answer those questions.